And there we go, everyone. We are back again for another fantastic conversation on Friday Night Counter Attack. This week, I'm joined by Calcio Talks Lucas Vieira, fantastic Calcio person to talk to as well. We are going to be talking. Oh, I'm guessing you've clicked on this podcast because you've seen what topic we're talking about. We are going to be doing an all-time AC Milan versus Inter Milan draft. And it may be an all-time Inter Milan versus AC Milan draft, but I may be picking players who I just think are favourites for me. And we are going to be talking about some of AC Milan's brand new signings as well. Obviously, Lucas is an AC Milan fan. He's been doing really well with his Calcio Talk page on Instagram. Make sure you follow that. The description will be in this week's description as well, which will be fantastic. And I'm pretty sure Lucas will be up and raring to go with his podcast, Calcio Talk, back when the season starts as well. Lucas, it's great to have you back on the podcast, my friend. It's good to see you doing so well. And it's good to see that you got the memo about having the kits because we're wearing opposite kits today, which is quite nice, I think. How have you been, my friend?
I've been good, Hamza. I've been good. I'm very happy to be back on here to talk about Serie A, to talk about my club Milan and everything around it. So I can't wait for this draft, and I'm sure I'll be picking the best team here because Milan
Yeah,
has all the best legends.
yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, we were going to go for all-time Inter Milan draft versus all-time AC Milan draft, but for this one, to make it a bit more convenient, we're going to mix the two clubs together. So we're going to have both AC Milan and Inter Milan for both of us as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing which Inter Milan players you pick as well. And by the way, I'm not exclusively to Inter Milan. I just thought it would look good for the picture, for the clickbait media later on in the podcast, which would be really good fun. But yeah, let's start onto it as well. Obviously, AC Milan have lost one of their big prospects, one of their big players this summer as well. Sandro Tonali. You've been very vocal about it on your social media pages and on your threads as well, which look really cool, by the way, on Instagram. And they've obviously lost Paolo Maldini, which has been a huge loss for them going forward. I just kind of want to know your first initial thoughts on that. So, what's your thoughts on Tonali leaving? Is Loftus-Cheek a suitable replacement? And can you replace someone like Paolo Maldini at AC Milan?
So let's start with Tonali.
Yep.
It was a hard loss because he was a big fan of the club. He always was vocal about how much he wants to stay and how much he likes the club and the atmosphere and everything around it. And he enjoys the project that the club had going on. And to see him leave was very shocking because
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the best players in the previous season. Um, Arguably top three or four behind maybe Leao and Theo. Um, and it seems like he was steadily progressing every season that he's been here. So, but with the reported fee of 70 million euros, I think it was, it's not a
Mm.
bad deal. Like now that I've had some time to settle and think about it, it's not too bad. You know, the 70 million euros can be spread out widely to improve the team because this team had too
And the
many
squad as well.
yeah, this squad and the team in general just had too many holes to cover. You know, there's just too many problems in there that 70 million can do a decent job fixing. And Tonali, as great as he was, it seems like with Pioli in the 4-2-3-1, he didn't really get to fully express himself as the
Yeah.
player that he is, you know. Sometimes if you see him for the Italy U21, you see that he's a little more attacking. He's a little more progressive with the ball. He's a little more aggressive. You know, he takes the game more by the neck.
Yeah.
As with where with Milan, he's more looked as like the engine, the guy that goes up and down that just makes the rough tackle. So he's much more than that. But at Milan, as long as he was there, I think he would have only just been the rough tackler with an engine.
What do you think of this follow-up question as well? How do you think he's going to play for Newcastle, and how do you think he's going to fit into the English style of play in the Premier League?
Um, I'm gonna be totally honest here. I haven't really watched Newcastle at all since
Okay.
Eddie Howe has joined, but I always hear a lot of good things about the team, and from seeing that the players that they've recruited and the young players that have came in since the Saudi takeover, it seems like they're thoroughly choosing players that fit into the coach's system before splashing any money, with Guimaraes, Botman, or whoever else they've signed, they've all seemed to have fit into the team and they've all seemed to have been managed well. And
Definitely.
so with Tonali, I think this is a choice by the coach that said, I think this player can fit into my team. And I think he knows how he'll want to use him. I think he may see Tonali as what I was explaining with Italy U21, the player that can move the ball a bit, that can get a goal, and that does more than just tackle.
Yeah, someone that
Um,
Bruno Guimaraes, he's more of the tough tackler. He can control the midfield as well, but Tonali will have the freedom to kind of dictate his influence on the game as well. And I reckon if he's got that solid partnership with Bruno Guimaraes as well, that'll be something that I think a lot of Premier League fans will be looking forward to watching, the Guimaraes and the Tonali partnership at Newcastle United this season. Definitely one to watch out for, in my opinion, as well, which would be good fun.
yeah. To answer your question about the Premier League, I think he's very suited for the Premier League. Physically, he's a very strong player.
Yeah,
And specifically last season, I'd say it seemed very hard sometimes to get him off the ball. He was able to push his way around defenders, burst past them. So he's a very modern midfielder and a very fit midfielder for the Premier League that requires pace, intelligence, and strength,
definitely.
which he has all of.
And there's a future of Italian football from what I've seen as well. Him and Barella being in that midfield for a good number of years to come as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what Sandro Tonali can bring for this Eddie Howe Newcastle United side that are going to be in the Champions League next season as well, which is going to be quite a big thing for Newcastle United. First time in the Champions League since 2002, 2003, which is insane. Just a quick note on a couple of your other players as well, Lucas. You got Luca Romero, if I remember, was a free transfer from Lazio, and then you've got Ruben
Yeah.
Loftus-Cheek, and you've got Christian Pulisic, both from Chelsea, respectively, as well. Out of the three of them, who's the more exciting player that you're interested in watching? Is it Loftus-Cheek, Pulisic, Romero? Who is it, Lucas?
I'd say Pulisic.
Mm,
Um, Pulisic mainly because the right wing has always been a desperate matter, and it seems like anything is an improvement on Junior Messias
yeah.
and Salimakers from these past 2 or 3 seasons that we've had them there.
Well,
And with
Salamaker's not up
Pulisic,
to
I
it
think
then as well.
Salimakers is a weird one because I'd say from April to the end of the season, he improved a lot, like a lot.
Yeah.
He looked like a different player. He added more a better final ball. His dribbling was much more sharper, and it didn't seem like he was just dribbling into nowhere and dribbling into a corner, not being able to be effective. It seemed like he was more direct and he knew what he wanted to do. Um, and so I posted on my threads that I think he's a player that can improve for the next season, and that's a player to watch out for. Only if Milan keep him, because with recent reports, it's being said that they see him on the market. They said he can look for another club, but if he stays, I think he'll be one to watch, and I think he can have a breakout. But back to the Pulisic, I think there's a good opportunity for him. A fresh start, a team where he'll have more responsibility and more trust. More freedom to do what he wants and to play a big factor in the team and get consistent minutes. Because at Chelsea, he didn't really have consistent minutes, and he didn't really have a role like a starting role. He didn't have a guaranteed role on the team. And I think with here at Milan, he'll be guaranteed at the right wing every game. He'll be able to get used to it and find himself a spot.
It was quite worrying as well because the last time we saw any kind of good form from Christian Pulisic was back in lockdown, like the first lockdown in 2020, and it just never really hit home how good Christian Pulisic was at Borussia Dortmund, and he couldn't translate that to Chelsea Football Club as well. I know he's part of the squad that won the Champions League and a few other trophies as well, but realistically, he didn't really have a big impact in that Chelsea side as well. I'm kind of thinking if he is going to play as a right winger, he'll have to adapt completely to how he's used to playing as a left winger, being the poster boy for the US men's national team as well, and really what he's been used to at Chelsea Football Club, because he's never really been that right winger Because obviously Rafael Leao's position is left wing, left wing, left wing. We all know
Yeah.
that. And then he rather has to play as like an attacking midfielder or a second striker, or he's gonna have to adapt properly to that right wing. Because otherwise you're gonna have Salamakers, Judy Messias, Luca Romero, and Christian Pulisic all kind of fighting for that one position out of four, which will be quite big. But I think Pulisic, if it's a do or die situation for him, he can take knowledge that Fikayo Tomori, he didn't really have a good time at Chelsea under Frank Lampard, and then he moved over to AC Milan, then became a Scudetto, within a season or two as well. So Christian Pulisic could inspire AC Milan to get back into the top echelons of Serie A once again as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he can bring that leadership that he brings from the US men's national team over to AC Milan and helping them kind of regain their right really to be in the top four of the Serie A, of the Scudetto, and challenging for the league as well, which will be really, really good for me to see as well. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun season of Serie A. I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about it upcoming to August and to September as well, which will be really nice as well, Lucas. But no, thank you very much for answering those questions. I'm looking forward to seeing who else AC Milan can sign this summer with that Sandro Tonali money as well. Now on to the main event. I've warmed you up by talking about AC Milan, but we're going to have to go back in time to talk about AC Milan and your fierce rivals Inter Milan as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we're going with this one. So for everyone listening, we are going to be doing a draft between Lucas and myself. We are going to be talking about the two great clubs in Milan, AC Milan and Inter Milan. Sorry, Monza. But we are going to be talking about the two great teams from the San Siro. And we're going to be talking about some of their greatest ever players. Lucas is going to pick his team. I'm going to pick my team. It's going to clash with AC Milan and Inter Milan players together. Lucas is going to pick his wild card first, and I'm going to pick my wild card. And we're going to go in a 4-4-2 formation. It can be any variation of 4-4-2. So it could be like a diamond. It could be the three and then the one attacking midfielder. However you want to do it, it's perfectly fine for me. If you want to have wingers, perfectly fine. But these are two clubs historically that never really had great wingers. They normally had players who would play as wingers that were like midfielders or strikers. But I thought, you know what, to get the best out of this opportunity, we can talk about the strikers a bit more as well by having two strikers up front as well. So I'm gonna let you go first, Lucas. So you're gonna lead the way in terms of wild cards, goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, attackers, and I'm gonna react to you to see how good my footballing knowledge will be of both the clubs. And hopefully, I mean, you said before the podcast that you're gonna win and you're gonna beat us compared to last time with the Serie A draft of the season. If you beat me with this one, it's the pressure's not on me. But if I beat you on this one, Lucas, the pressure's definitely on you for next draft as well. Are you looking forward to this one? Have you done your research?
Yeah, I'm ready. But we have to let the viewers decide who are the better drafts. So guys, if you're listening to this, in the comments on the Instagram post or anywhere, tell us who had the better draft, me or Hamza.
And what we're going to do as well, we're going to put a collab post out as well. So we're going to make sure that it's on both of our channels, both of our pages. So it's going to be non-biased as well. So both of our listeners and both of our followers on Instagram will be able to comment. So there's no bias there. It's a fair game. I'm looking forward to this, Lucas. Let's go. AC Milan and Inter Milan all-time draft. Let's go, Lucas. You've got your wild card pick. So again, you can pick whoever you want, wherever you want to begin the draft. Where are you going, my friend?
Okay, wait. First question. So this is both Inter and AC Milan, right?
Yeah.
So is it like we have a limited amount of Inter players that we can pick and Milan players, or is it like unlimited amounts?
Unlimited. If you want to go for like 10 AC Milan players and one Inter Milan, I couldn't care less. There's
Yeah.
free range for this one. We're perfectly fine, my friend.
Okay. Um, it's hard. For the goalie, there's
No, you can
been
start with
so
a wild
many.
card, so you can pick with your first choice from whatever position. By the way, so it doesn't have to be from
Oh,
goalkeeper. You
okay.
can pick wherever you want. First of all,
Okay. Wherever I want, first
yeah.
of all, I'm gonna go with the number 10,
Okay,
one of my one of my favorite players. Um, Ricardo Kaká.
Ricardo Kaká. We on Friday Night Counter Attack do love Ricardo Kaká. We've spoken about him so much. So Champions League nights, AC Milan nights, Brazil in the World Cup. Fantastic player. What's your favorite memory of Kaká for AC Milan?
It has to be one of the Champions League finals in either 2005 or seven. Even though in 2005 we ended up losing, he was amazing in that match. The way
Mm,
that he was able to break open Liverpool's defense in the first half so easily to find Inzaghi was was just amazing.
That
That's
Crespo pass
just
as well, when Crespo passed it, like touched it first time over Dudek. That was an amazing turn, pass out halfway across the pitch as well. Unbelievable pass to Hernan Crespo. I think that was the one that made it 3-0, right, in the game, which was insane.
yeah. He was unstoppable in that match. Like the speed, the awareness, the brilliance of a number 10 is what it
Yeah.
was. It was just a masterclass on what a number 10 is.
Definitely. No, I absolutely adore Ricardo Kaká, and he's a fantastic example of what Brazilian football can do in European football as well. As again, he was the Ballon d'Or winner in 2007. Fantastic player and fantastic choice, Lucas. As we go on, can you just type in your choices into the chat for me? So then when we get back to editing,
Yeah.
we both remember our teams, which would be great. And everyone following along as well, do make your teams as you normally do as well, and share it with us later on when this podcast does come out as well, which would be great. My wild card, if I'm going to go for first, I will go for. You know what? I'm going to be smart with this one as well. I'm going to be very, very smart with this one. I'm picking Paolo Maldini as my wild card because now I get
Oh,
to choose if I want to put him as a left back or a centre back. Um, you know what? I'll put him as left back because there aren't going to be any better left backs than Paolo Maldini in the beautiful game of this draft that we've got as well. So Paolo Maldini, I'm going to put you there as my wild card. There we go. Right, now we're going to go back to front. So again, goalkeepers for you first. Goalkeeper, then defense, midfield, attack. So let's hear it, my friend. If you had to choose a goalkeeper from both AC Milan and Inter Milan's history, who would it be and why?
we're continuing with the Brazilian theme here.
Mm.
Um, we're gonna go for the treble winner himself, Julio Cesar.
Ooh, what a shout. That's a really good shout that was as well. Julio Cesar, he was someone who kind of came out of obscurity in a way because you had Francesco Toldo, who was the great keeper of Inter Milan for so many years as well. And he needed replacing after coming into retirement around 37, 38 years old. Going forward, they wanted to look for someone who could play out from the back a bit, who's a bit more of an agile shot stopper. And who did they go for? They went for Julio Cesar, who was mostly like a second choice keeper, third choice keeper along the way as well. And he kind of got his big break around 2007 onwards. But obviously, like Lucas kind of said earlier, the treble winning keeper, that is Julio Cesar, winning the Champions League, the Cup, and the league in Italy as well. So Julio Cesar is a great choice for you, Lucas, as well. For me personally, yeah, you know what? I'll keep it easy and I'll keep it sweet. I'm gonna go for Francesco Toldo, in my team as well. So I really liked him growing up. I was someone who really enjoyed to watch these Italian keepers because they just felt a bit more glamorous, a bit more adventurous as well. They're always a bit mad, so I quite liked it when you're seeing a lot of these goalkeepers. So Francesco Toldo for me is going to be the man that I'm going to choose for me as well, which is great. Who's your right back going to be, Lucas?
Oh man, this is hard.
Mm.
It's between two people for me. Um,
Don't say the second one when you name it because I may have to steal him just in case. Don't give me any ideas.
it's really between two people, and it's hard because
Are they both from the
they're
same
both
club?
such no,
Okay, that's fine.
they were both such great players for their teams,
Mm.
but I'm gonna go with a very, very big legend and a very big part of the history of his team, and that's Zanetti, Capitano.
Oh, my days. When I got to visit Milan, I've been twice now. And both times you see more Zanetti shirts than you see any other printed shirts in the San Siro when it's an Inter Milan game as well, because he just meant so much to the Inter Milan fans, it's the Nerazzurri they call it, right? Inter Milan.
The Nerazzurri.
Nerazzurri, that's how I pronounce it. Nerazzurri. They loved Javier Zanetti as well. And for someone who reinvented himself later in his career as a holding midfielder and being part of that treble winning side as well under Jose Mourinho goes to show how talented the man from Argentina was. And he was a fantastic player, fantastic leader, and a fantastic servant. I think Inter Milan are kind of missing someone like that in the center of their midfield as well because they've done so well over the last 12 months to get to the Champions League final. If there's someone in the middle who's kind of calm it all down. I know Brozovic has kind of recently moved to Saudi Arabia. That's been confirmed, hasn't it? It's gone to Saudi Arabia officially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to need someone to replace Brozovic, and I'm really looking forward to see who Inter Milan go for as well. But Javier Zanetti, great choice. Yeah, just to be blunt, I'm going to go for Cafu. Cafu is easily my choice as well because it needed to be done. It was one of the two. I thought you were going to be a bit sneaky and go for Cafu and then Javier Zanetti as your holding midfielder, but you went for him in his right position as well. Shout out to Maicon, but with Maicon, because his drop off went so bad after that Gareth Bale disaster class he had 2 times in a row. He went from the best right back in the world to a sub right back for Manchester City in a couple of years, up behind Zabaleta and Micah Richards, which is insane. But yeah, right backs, great choice. And I don't think anyone gave a wrong answer there because you couldn't really with two legends like Zanetti and Cafu. Now you got your choice of first choice centre back. So where are you going to go with this one? And I think there's only one real choice you can go without messing up. So Lucas, let me hear it, my friend. Where are you going for centre backs? First choice.
Well, since you picked Maldini under my nose, I can't go for him. So we're gonna go with the other person that's thought of when you say AC Milan, and that's gonna be Franco Baresi.
Franco Baresi. I mean, what a legend. He was someone who epitomized defending back in the 80s and in the 90s as well. Someone who really guided Paolo Maldini when he was coming through, which was insane to say because Paolo Maldini, as we've said before on this podcast, has played so long that he played with Maradona, played against Maradona, and played against Cristiano Ronaldo. I was going to say Theo Walcott, but Ronaldo is obviously more glamorous than Theo Walcott is as well. But it goes to show how well Maldini's longevity was that he played with the legendary Franco Baresi as well. And for Baresi, what he's done for Italian football is beyond iconic. I mean, he's someone that, personally, I thought you were going to forget about him. I thought you were going to go for the other Italian legend for AC Milan, but I'm glad you picked him now because he's such a joy of a player to watch. And a lot of people nowadays, they don't get to watch these players unless they're shown at the World Cup or at the Euros. But if you have a bit of spare time, you can watch Franco Baresi highlights as well on YouTube, and you will adore his defending and his style of play, his mannerisms as well. Fantastic player, Franco Baresi. And great shout, Lucas. For me, I'm going to keep it nice and sweet, nice and easy. Alessandro Nesta, for me personally. I mean, Copper 90 once did a poll, I think, and the best rated centre-back from the poll was Alessandro Nesta. So he came numero uno, basically, in terms of best ever centre-backs, which is insane. And I think if I have a chance of stopping you with all the attackers we have on, I do need Nesta and I do need Maldini in my team as well. So I've got Maldini at left back, Nesta centre-back, Cafu right back, and another centre-back will be incoming as well. But I was really happy with Nesta. Can you tell us a bit more about Nesta from an AC Milan point of view as well? What did he mean to the fans? What did he mean to yourself personally? What did he really mean to AC Milan fans, Lucas?
You see, I wasn't around much for that time. Like, by the time Nesta came, I was born.
Yeah.
But it was like a passing of the torch, with Maldini now moving to center back later in his career, going from left back to center back, and Costa Curta getting older and Baresi retiring. They were needing another reliable and world-class center back, and they looked to Nesta from Lazio. And it really, really, really helped Milan for the long term, like it was a good sign for the long term. And I think it brought positivity to the fans to see that Milan weren't just going to rely on two older players and two experienced players, and they saw that they were taking initiative in getting someone like Nesta away from a rival.
Yeah, and when you got someone like Lazio as well, they had players like Veron, they had players like Nesta who were coming into their pomp. And then that was kind of the time when they ended up selling their big players as well. So Nesta going to AC Milan, I think Veron went to Manchester United as well. They were getting big money in that Lazio, but they were losing some of their crucial players in that time. And Alessandro Nesta became the face of AC Milan in a way when you're thinking about it. Shows how well he did, him and Maldini did. For such a good number of years as well, winning the Champions League in 2003, winning the World Cup in 2006, winning the Champions League in 2007 as well. I think he had a really good game against Lionel Messi in 2013 or 2012, I think, for AC Milan in his veteran years as well. And it goes to show the class of a good defender that Alessandro Nesta was. He had that opportunity to demonstrate it throughout his career, and he did. And people nowadays are remembering Nesta as well as Maldini because they're both amazing centre-backs as well, which is fantastic. And not just for FIFA Ultimate Team. That's a pet peeve of mine. When people know about legends through FIFA Ultimate Team, I hate it. Go on YouTube, read a book, find some pictures from old magazines, not those magazines, but you'll love it. Literally, Alessandro Nesta is the guy for me at centre-back as well. Right then, second choice centre-back, Lucas. Where are we going with this one?
Um, I glazed over him earlier when talking about Nesta, but it's another big and crucial player to the history of Milan.
Mm.
And he played alongside Baresi when Maldini was a left back, and that's Costa
Oh,
Curta, who is one of the biggest legends in Milan history. And he retired at the age of like 40 something,
mm.
and
And he's playing
he
left back as well
was
sometimes as well. Um, when he was 40, he could still play at fullback, which is crazy, going up and down the wing. I remember that from when he was still playing. Insane talent he had, and insane energy he had as well. Costa Curta. Sorry, continue with what you were saying.
but yeah, he's a true Italian defender, with the longevity, is what really speaks out. Playing at a high level with Milan and winning so many trophies with Milan, but not just being there to win the trophies, but being there and being an integral part of those teams, being one of the best defenders in the world alongside Baresi and Maldini. It's not easy to be one of the best defenders in the world beside those two at the time.
Absolutely.
So yeah, even though I didn't get the chance to watch him, from speaking to many people that got to watch him and seeing videos of him and hearing about him, he was a great player for Milan and was a big part of the history of what AC Milan is.
And it's gone through history as well as Maldini as well, who's a good journeyman through AC Milan's history, and it goes to show what he's done. And for me to even remember him just from the name as well, playing as a fullback is crazy. Fantastic player Costa Curta was for AC Milan and for Italy as well, of course, which is great. I'm gonna throw a curveball. It's not really a curveball, but I'm gonna break up my AC Milan looking back three to make it a 3 and a 1. So my one is going to be my second choice centre back is going to be Lucio from Inter Milan. So I'm going to go for Lucio, who I think is one of the most underrated centre backs in modern football. I mean, he did retire a good couple of years ago. He did have a couple of stints abroad at different places. One was in India as well, which is something that I'll be talking about later this summer as well, which is great. But I thought he was a fantastic centre-back. World Cup winner back in 2002 with Brazil, played for Bayern Leverkusen, for Bayern Munich, won the Champions League with Inter Milan, I believe, in 2010, integral to Jose Mourinho's setup as well. But we could go on all day about the centre-backs, but I think it's just more of a personal choice for me. Lucio Nesta at centre-back, from what I saw from them. They were fantastic players for me growing up as well, so I had to throw them in there as well, which is great. My wild card was obviously Paolo Maldini. He's going to be my left back. You've got any choice of left back as well. Are you going to go for Theo Hernandez here, Lucas, or are you going to go for someone a bit more historic and a bit more a regal than Theo Hernandez?
I'm going with another ancient time player,
Ooh,
Um, that's the theme here is really because as much as I love Theo Hernandez and as much as I've gotten to watch him, I want to keep this traditional and very fair.
so you're not going to go for
And I want to
even
go with
Perisic then?
no, I'm gonna
Okay.
go with Facchetti, a
Oh,
legend at left back. He a big Inter legend, one of their best left backs ever to play for the team. A player during the 70s and 60s,
yeah, it's one of those where even I'm not really sure about him as well. But the fact that you knew about him and the impact he had on Italian football must have been great for you to know more about him as well, which is great. So I'm not going to pretend like I do. I never do when I don't know these players. So there's no point in me talking about it. But I trust you with this one. I'll put the stats on later for the edit. So if he looks like he's one of the best ever left backs of all time, I've got egg in my face anyway. So No, obviously you'll type it in the chat, which would be great. But great choice with you. I'm gonna give you that choice of great choice because I've got Paolo Maldini, which is good fun. Oh my days. Now this is the tough part because we now have a variation of a 4-4-2. We've got our back four, which is great. We've both done really well with that. How am I going to set this up? I think I'm gonna have to go for one defensive midfielder, two centre midfielders, and an attacking midfielder, like a trequartista or a floating attacker. That's how I'm gonna go
Yeah, it's
about
like
it.
the diamond.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for the diamond, the narrow diamond as well, because I was thinking more about the diamond or just the one defense midfielder and three centre midfielders, but I'd rather have an attacking midfielder just in case. Um, fire away, Lucas. Where are you going with your first choice centre defensive mid, or
Okay.
where? Actually, sorry, I assumed that. Where are you going with your 4-4-2? Are you going to go for a flat 4-4-2, two defensive midfielders, two
No,
attack?
I'm gonna go with what you did, Kazaria Kaka at the number 10. So
Oh, is he at the
the
top of?
plan
Is that
was,
your diamond? Top of your
yeah,
diamond.
yeah, yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. So what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna go for Andrea Pirlo
Big question. Are you going to go for Andrea Pirlo from his Inter Milan days or his AC Milan days?
from his Milan days. From his Inter days, it was a different player. He wasn't much of the regista. He wasn't really a deep line playmaker.
Mm.
It was when he went to Brescia, he started moving further back the pitch and seeing a little bit of success. But it was Ancelotti who truly transitioned him into the defensive midfielder and the legendary player that he is known as today. And one of honestly a catalyst for the modern defensive midfielder. Like a lot of the best teams in the world recently have been using that kind of defensive midfielder that creates the game, that sets up the game on his own, that controls the game, that controls the tempo. Look at Man City with Rodri. He's the one that kind of dictates the tempo and controls the game for City. Everything goes through him, and that's the effect that Pirlo and Ancelotti had on, I think, this modern game.
I would say so as well, especially when Roy Hodgson was his manager at Inter Milan and he nearly ruined his career as well, Andrea Pirlo. So it goes to show that one great manager nearly ruined the player, but one great manager and actually made his career as well, winning the Champions League in 2003 as well at Old Trafford, World Cup winner in 2006, winner in 2007 as well for Andrea Pirlo. Fantastic player, fantastic icon of football as well. His range of passing was unreal. I still remember at Euro 2012 when he was kind of the catalyst for Italy getting to the final against Spain as well, because it's all about Pirlo being protected. I think you had Marchisio in a team, De Rossi in a team, but they're the ones kind of protecting Pirlo who could dictate the play for Di Natale, Castano, Balotelli to go up and score the goals as well for Italy that they needed. And Pirlo was the guy who dinked on Joe Hart in a European quarterfinals or semi-finals. He just panicked him as well. He's got that class.
Yeah,
His free kicks were amazing. Set piece specialist as well. With Andrea Pirlo, he probably is one of the coolest men in football. We're going to give him that as well. But his range of passing and his range of set pieces were unbelievable. They were out of this world. And I think whenever you look at Pirlo free kicks as well, especially when he went to Juventus, when everyone thought he was finished, when Milan thought he was finished, he just helped took them up another notch as well with that knuckleball swerve foot free kick as well. Unbelievable play, unbelievable talent, an unbelievable pick by you as well, Lucas. Really well done. You've stumped me there because I've got a few players who I want to pick as a defensive midfielder, but they're more of centre mids and more of attacking mids. So I can't really go for anyone there. I might have to take a hit because you've taken Zanetti, so really well done. Good tactical now from picking Zanetti. Oh, you know what? Throwing a curveball out here. I'm gonna go for Edgar Davids. Throwing Edgar Davids in my team. I'm gonna have to go for him as a defense midfielder. The
yeah,
pit bull, the one who was wearing goggles on the pitch as well. His better days, I would say, were at Juventus as well. Not at Barnet in England. When he did play in England, he played for Spurs and he played for Barnet. But I'm gonna go for him here because we've got a few of the really good players. Honorable mentions: Cambiasso, Patrick Vieira, Ambrosini as well, of course, at AC Milan. But I think from personal choice, I'll go for Edgar Davids as my defense midfielder. And we need someone fiery to stop Kaká from dictating the play with Pirlo in your team. So I need a bit of fire and grit from Edgar Davids. Edgar Davids is in my team. Where are we going with this one? Where's your first choice of your second midfielder?
Okay, so my Metsala, one of my center mids of the team will be the almighty Lothar Matthäus.
Wow.
One of the first big foreign signings of Inter Milan
Yes.
was Lothar Matthäus, who came in with Jurgen Klinsmann and Bremen, I think
Breme.
was his name, was the German left back,
Yeah.
Um, Inter had the three Germans and Milan had the three Dutchmen.
You had Kai, you had Rijkaard as well at AC Milan. Who's the third one?
Van Basten
Van
and
Basten.
Gullit.
Dodoy. Gullit, Van Basten, Rijkaard. Insane. So you're gonna go for Lothar Matthäus as your
Yeah.
second choice midfielder, which is great. I'm gonna have to steal one from AC Milan, and I'm gonna go for someone who I've always loved. And he's one of those players that when you play against him, or when you're watching your team play against him, you realize there's nothing you can do really when it's one-on-one. Most of the one-on-one duels this guy had, he would win, even when he's up to 33, 34 years old as well. He was doing it in the Champions League. He was doing it in international football. He's doing it in Serie A as well. He was a serial winner, and his name is Clarence Seedorf. Clarence Seedorf is my guy. I'll always love Clarence Seedorf. So Edgar Davids, Clarence Seedorf, they're here to stop Kaká, they're here to stop Matthäus, and they're here to stop Andrea Pirlo as well, which is great fun. What I'll do now is I'll take another pick because actually no, you go first because I was going to say you've got Kaká and then I'll just do two in a row after that, which will be fine. But yeah, Clarence Seedorf
Hold on.
is my
I
one.
need some time to think. I need some
That's
time to think. You took Seedorf under my nose.
I mean, you went for Matthäus, so I mean, come on now, you can't have all of them. Actually, you could have had all of them, but it is someone that I needed in my team. If I didn't have him in my team, I may have just quit the whole podcast, which is insane. If listeners are listening to this and you haven't picked Clarence Seedorf in your own kind of team, you may have missed out there as well. And if you haven't, watch our previous videos on Clarence Seedorf. One unbelievable player he was, as well.
Okay, so for my third center mid, I have a couple of thoughts going on.
Mm.
Um, it's hard because both Milan and Inter have had legendary midfielders throughout all of their teams throughout decades. Um, but like you said, this doesn't have to necessarily be the best team. It can just be a little bit of both, a little bit of favorites. And
Yeah,
to help Pirlo and Mateus out with Mateus's great goal scoring ability and Pirlo's amazing passing, we need someone more defensive, someone more grittier, tougher, and
I know who you're
that
thinking of.
choice will be Rino Gattuso.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. You had to get three of the four iconic diamond from the 2005 AC Milan side as well. I mean, you picked amazing players anyway, but your diamond is shining in the sky. That's all I'm saying. Shinier than my ring light that I've got here as well. My eyes are just blinding me this evening. You can tell it's been a while since I've recorded with a ring light. But yeah, Gennaro Gattuso is one of the players that I think you need in your team. You would love him as a teammate, and he was someone who could turn up in the big occasion, the big games, and someone who's done it all for Inter Milan, no, for AC Milan, Italy, and I would say even Rangers as well. Before he went to AC Milan, he's really good at Rangers and well received in Glasgow as well for what a player that he was as well. Unfortunately, nowadays, Gennaro Gattuso is famous for his very famous meme of being a manager and
Yeah.
shouting that out as well. We're not going to repeat it because I don't want to disservice the player Gennaro Gattuso, but I think everyone knows what it is. And if you're not even a football fan, that video has a separate fan base in itself for what it actually represents as well. But shout out Gennaro Gattuso, what a player. I've got two midfielders to choose from here, and I'm not really sure where I can go because I want to put a favourite in, but he didn't play for AC Milan for that long. And I don't think I'm going to put him in. So I'm just going to mention his name, David Beckham. I'd love to put him in, but he was definitely not at AC Milan for long enough to be part of this
Yeah.
all-time draft. So I just thought I'd give him a shout out. Shout out David Beckham, AC Milan, lonely hero once upon a time. um, which ain't too bad as well. First choice, Wesley Schneider. I'm going to have to go in for him as well. I think he's someone who I think has to be my number 10. So realistically speaking, I'm not going to put him as a second or third midfielder because we know he's not going to track back and do the work. So I need someone who's going to be really offering a bit more in this game as well. So I think there's going to have to be the one for me, Wesley Schneider. Then I'm going to have to go for... I'm going to take a hit on this one. I'll be real with you. I'm going to take a hit on this one because I think I'm going to have to try and win it back in the strikers. So if I have to go for a centre midfielder, because I can only pick one attacking midfielder, and I'm one of those proper tactical guys. Like I don't like playing plays out position. So attacking midfielders for honorable mentions: Alvaro Recoba, Ruud Gullit, Rui Costa, Ronaldinho even as well. And I'm not going to put Ronaldinho left centre mid, which makes no sense to me. So it won't make sense to anyone as well. I can put him in my team. People will be like, "Oh, why did you put Ronaldinho left centre mid?" I can leave him out my team. Oh, why'd you leave out Ronaldinho? It's always going to happen. So I think just to be on the safe side, so I've got Seedorf, I've got Schneider, I've got Davids. I think I'm gonna have to take a hit, and I may have to go for some. I'm gonna go for Esteban Cambiasso, just the longevity that he had at Inter Milan as well. Someone who was a proper servant, and I need someone who's got a bit of spice about him as well to fight Gennaro Gattuso as well in this midfield. It's going to be a tough battle. We've seen these battles over the years as well for what he did for Inter Milan against AC Milan as well, and I'm pretty sure they've definitely left a couple of scars on one another's legs as well from all these slide tackles as well. So my midfield comprises of Clarence Seedorf, Esteban Cambiasso, Edgar Davids, and Wesley Schneider. You've definitely beaten me in this midfield battle here, Lucas. I will definitely give you that. I personally think
I don't
this
know,
is
man.
where I definitely think you beat me on that one. You got Kaká for goodness sake, Ballon d'Or one. You got Lothar Matthäus. You got the historical longevity there as well. You got royalty in that team. I'm just happy I got Clarence Seedorf, so I'm not gonna lie about that as well. Shouts out Christian Eriksen as well. I wanted to put you in there, but again, your longevity at Inter Milan, it was kind of short, but it's short and sweet. But obviously, you have to move for other reasons as well.
Yeah.
This is where I win the draft. This is where I win the draft because there's no way in hell, Lucas, that you're beating me with your two choices of strikers. And just for our viewers, just a reminder, I wanted to play a 4-4-2 draft formation because we want to talk about more of the most amazing strikers that have played in Milan. And we're going to name a few of them as well. But Lucas is going to pick his two. I'm going to pick my two. Obviously, Lucas, you pick your first choice. I'll pick my first choice. And we'll see where we go from there. Now, if you pick this player, first of all, I know I've lost. If you pick anyone but this player, then I know I've got a chance of winning this draft. So without me waffling any further, Lucas, who have you got as your first choice striker?
I'm gonna have one is gonna be more of a one that I really like, and another one will be one that I think was amazing. Like for Milan.
So you
So do I
remember
name
you
my
get
first? Do I name two records and you name, or
no,
do
you
I
pick
name
your
one? Like,
you same as how we normally do. So you pick your first striker, I pick my first striker, you pick second striker, I pick second striker as well. Which is all
um,
good.
so my biased one will be since I'm half Chilean, will be Ivan Zamorano. Um,
Oh,
a
the
lot of
one
people
plus
know
eight.
him. That's what a lot of people know him for his 1+8 shirt, but in reality, he was an amazing striker. He was a striker that can score from anywhere, anytime. And you give him a header, 9 times out of 10, he'd score it. He
His
had the
leap was
pace, he
insane
had
as
the
well. He
dribbling.
had some big leap on him, and the fact that he was someone for me personally when I was growing up, he put Chilean football on the map because I didn't know any other Chilean footballer besides Zamorano as well. So, shout out to Zamorano for what he did. And what does he kind of mean to you? I know you're going to go through his kind of traits and stuff, but as a Chilean national, what does it kind of mean to you that he was kind of your poster boy for football as well at the time, Lucas?
The funny thing about Zamorano is that for a young person like me, I didn't really idolize him in terms of Chilean football because it was more of the from my father's time
Mm.
and my brother's time. And so they look at Zamorano and Marcelo Salas, especially. as legends of Chilean football and icons. So when I was younger, I'd always see those two on the TV, highlights of them or games of them, because they were the big Chileans. They were the ones playing in Europe. They were the ones that were succeeding in Europe. They really made people look into the Chilean market and see that there is some young players there that can do good and not have talent, right? So yeah, he very iconic to a lot of Chileans all over. Um, and to also like a lot of casuals, like he's before, if you were to say I'm Chilean, they'd say, oh, so you know who Ivan Zamorano is? Now it's Alexis Sanchez, but before Zamorano was the face of Chile.
Yeah. And again, he was someone, like you said, he would score any type of header as well. The pace that he had as well was a fantastic player to watch. And it's someone where I think he was a very threatening attacking striker as well. He was a very attacking forward. And I really wanted to go for him. Annoyingly, he was my second choice. Not my first choice, definitely my second choice. But I'm going to have to go for his Inter Milan strike partner, the man who actually took his number 9 away. I am going to have to go for the legendary Ronaldo Nazario. And Ronaldo Nazario, if everyone knows Cristiano Ronaldo, you will know about Ronaldo Nazario. Some people call him the original Ronaldo. Some people call him Ronaldo Nazario as well. But for Ronaldo Nazario, he played for both AC Milan and Inter Milan, which was insane. He was someone who actually won the UEFA Cup with Inter Milan. So he won one of their first European trophies in the 90s as well, which is crazy. But that's kind of where the genius met the tragedy as well. That's kind of where his injuries carried on after that as well. And he was someone who really could have played for Inter Milan for a good number of years, and he did so well for them as well. And Brazilian Ronaldo, as a lot of people call him, or R9, the phenomenon and phenomenal as well. A few stats for you as well. 68 appearances. He scored 49 goals between 1997 and 2002. He was the Ballon d'Or winner within his time at Barcelona and Inter Milan as well, which goes to show how well he did. He was the poster boy of football at the time when he was at Inter Milan as well. Real Madrid bought him after his World Cup triumph in 2002, which was insane. But with Inter Milan, he was literally the world record transfer. I think it was the world record transfer. Let me check. Yeah, he scored 25 goals in the season, won the 98 UEFA Cup, which I think may have been one of my first ever UEFA Cups. But yeah, Inter Milan signed him for a record fee of £27 million, which was a world record at the time for a footballer. And for Ronaldo to be that guy, Inter Milan got their money's worth as well until the injuries kind of came about in 1999 as well. But were you kind of around when he kind of played for AC Milan, Lucas, when he came over to the Rossoneri as well? What do you think? Were you around for that?
Um, I was very young at the time when he came to Milan because I think it was around like 2007,
Mm.
2008, and I was like 4 or 5 years old, so I don't really remember much, but like it was at the time where he was gone. He was 1 foot out the door with football. He was overweight. The injuries really took a toll on him. So it's not really like memories of what a legend he was for Milan, but more of like we signed an ex great,
Yes.
a former great that would come up with big goals whenever he would want to play.
It was one of those things as well, because I remember hearing Kaká saying that he was someone who was like, oh, if I wanted to train, I would, or if I wanted to be the best, I would, but he just wanted to enjoy life a bit more as well. I think a lot of Brazilian players in the mid 2000s had that mentality of wanting to enjoy life, have that samba, relaxed lifestyle, play football with a jogger medito as well. But it would come at a cost to them later in their career as well. It happened with Ronaldinho, it happened with Ronaldo as well. Happened with quite a few players. Emerson, another one as well, the centre midfielder. So goes to show that it's happened previously as well. But with Ronaldo R9, someone who I think is definitely very special to a lot of players around the world in terms of strikers. A lot of players have found him instrumental to their development as strikers as well. And he was the blueprint for an amazing striker, someone who's big, someone who's strong, ferocious, his amazing skill set, his double step over and a shimmy out to the side as well. Amazing skill set Ronaldo had as well. And for a lot of people nowadays, when they're thinking of Ronaldo, I quite like the fact that they're thinking of Cristiano Ronaldo. But for a lot of people, they will always remember Ronaldo as R9, El Phenomenon, the phenomenon, really. And that's what Ronaldo was, a phenomenal striker indeed. And so was Zamorano. He was definitely a phenomenal striker in his own right, and I'm definitely not going to take that away from him or from you as well, Lucas. But now you've got the choice. You've got all these other strikers in Milan history. Are you going to go for Lukaku? Are you going to go for Andre Silva? Are you going to go for Lautaro Martinez? Are you going to go for Icardi? Are you going to go for Gilardino? Where are you finishing off on your really good team, your really good draft of AC Milan and Inter Milan all-time players as well? Where are we going to get this final player from yourself, Lucas?
It's hard because both teams have phenomenal lists of strikers. I think the strikers have been the best positions that they've had and that they've bought or produced. So
I think we could do a whole nother
there,
podcast on this as well. The greatest strikers in Serie A history or even Milan history, because there's so
yeah,
many to go through as well, which is unbelievable.
it feels like there's no right answer, and whatever you say, you'll probably get some heat for
Mm.
whoever you choose because you're missing out on someone. You know, you only get two choices at striker.
There's always going to be like a
Um,
cliche choice that everyone will choose. Oh, why don't you choose him to partner Ronaldo or him to partner Zamorano? Sometimes it may just have
yeah.
to be a personal choice at the end of the day as well. And I, for one, if you don't pick this player, it will be a personal choice for me as well. So I know it will be a really good one. But let's see who you pick. Who are we going for, Lucas? Have you made up your mind?
Um, I'm gonna go with the unicorn himself, Ibrahimovic.
Don't worry, here's my second choice. Here's my second choice, but he would have been a great partner for Ronaldo as well. Ronaldo Ibrahimovic. And that's what I was leading up to in my topic of conversation as well. Some players idolized him. Zlatan Ibrahimovic idolized Ronaldo when he was growing up as well, which was insane. I mean, Lucas, come on, you're an AC Milan fan. He played for Inter Milan in the past. He came back and won the Scudetto. He led the young players literally to a Scudetto as well. What does Zlatan Ibrahimovic mean to you, Lucas? And the fact that he came back after being in having an ACL injury, going to the USA, coming back to Milan, what does he mean to you as a Milan fan? Because you definitely saw him play as well. I definitely know that
Yeah.
you're gonna bring the heat with this one.
Um, he's an icon. He's an icon, an idol, a leader in the view of Milan fans. You know, maybe before he came for the second stint to Milan, his question of being a legend wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't like, okay, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a legend of Milan because Milan had so many legends, and to be a legend, it's hard. It's not an easy thing to be a Milan legend. But I think after this second stint at Milan, it really secured himself as a legend of the team, coming at the age of 38, you know, with ACL injuries, coming from the USA, like you said, which is not even close to the level of any European football. Um, it's hard. You don't expect the player to make a big jump and have great form and looks like he never had any problems. Like Zlatan came in there to the Milan team and made it look like he never left, you know. Big impact all around the team to the young players. Um, he was like a mentor to them, you know, he leaded them, he got their heads straight, he made them focused, and he led them down like the right direction, you know. He was kind of helping Maldini and the others build the foundation for what Milan are trying to get to. And in his first half season, he was amazing, you know, with the goals, with everything. He he was still able to come and do the moves, you know, the dribbling to get past his man. He had a little bit of speed left, you know. It seemed like it was like, fuck, is he really like 38? Like, there's no way.
Is he still doing these
So
moves? Is he
yeah,
still having this acrobatic sense about him, which he had? The fact that he could still have that amazing air time when he's going for headers, he could do all of his acrobatics as well when he's reaching for the ball as well. Fantastic athlete, and it goes to show that the injury, the ACL injury, which ruins careers, ends careers, in fact, in football, didn't end Zlatan Ibrahimovic. If anything, it inspired him on. And when he said that, it inspired him on. People going, ha, yeah, it's fine. You're going to the USA. He actually came back and won a Scudetto for AC Milan for the first time since, if I remember correctly, 2013 or 2011, maybe, I think it
um,
was as well.
2011.
11, that was it. Yeah. So it goes to show how well he did to inspire this Rossoneri side, this young Rossoneri side to actually winning the Scudetto, which was insane and really well put as well. And you must have loved it as well as a fan, seeing someone who was playing for you back in the early 2010s, which goes to show that he came back for the love of the game as well, and he did it to the best of his ability. So I will always be a big Zlatan Ibrahimovic fan. And you definitely picked my second choice. Definitely not my first choice to partner Ronaldo, but you've definitely picked someone who I think is going to be really, really good. Right. So for how I normally do my drafts, when I do all-time drafts, my rule to myself, and I've said it to the audience, and the audience knows it as well, they'll always call me out, is when I do a draft, I will always pick players that I've seen live. So even though you've gone for the historic ones, the archive footage of Mateus as well, like you said as well, Costa Curta, I'm not going to go down that route. So I could go for a George Weah, I could go for a Van Basten, I could go for some of these amazing players, even Christian Vieira. I didn't really watch him that much. I know he was around at the time, but I didn't watch him as much. So I'm going to go for someone who I know I watch consistently year in, year out. When I went to India, I was playing on my PSP on the flight over to India and over to Dubai when I was flying. And I was playing with this team for a reason, because it really excited me, because this was when he was in his pomp. This is when he was the main man, one of the best strikers in world football. And annoyingly, he made one bad move in his career and it just went downhill for a bit. I reckon if he stayed at the club that he was at, he still would have been a world beater, challenging for Ballon d'Ors year in, year out, challenging for Golden Balls year in, year out. It's AC Milan's Andrei Shevchenko. You're going to have to go for him. Shevchenko and Ronaldo, after a very defensive and in a way a midfield that I've got compared to yours as well, which is a world-class midfield. I need two gunmen up front. I need two killers up front. They don't have to trap back at all, my friend. They can just stay up front, form a partnership, a dream partnership of what I've really wanted to see from AC Milan and Inter Milan as well for a good number of years as well. We saw that in a way with Lautaro Martinez and Dzeko, Martinez and Icardi, Martinez and Lukaku. But never really hit the heights of Filippo Inzaghi and Andrei Shevchenko, or Ronaldo and Zamorano. They were amazing partnerships as well in their own right. So I'm going to have to go for Andrei Shevchenko, the Ukrainian hitman, someone who doesn't get the praise he deserves, especially when he brought Dynamo Kiev to the semi-finals of the Champions League in the late 90s. Fantastic player. We did a few little Q&As on our podcast and people going, Prime Torres was much better than Prime Shevchenko, but Prime Shevchenko was a joy, winning the Champions League in 2003, winning multiple leagues for AC Milan as well, winning multiple Coppa Italias as well for AC Milan as well. People just remember him for that miss in the Champions League final in 2005. But I think Andrei Shevchenko, without the penalty miss, was a killer. And he was a killer. He did so much for AC Milan. And the fact that a lot of players for AC Milan were Italian in that side, especially in the good 4 or 5 years leading up to that Champions League final, to have one sole Ukrainian in that team did so much more for the world of football as well, because it shows that you can go, again, with respect, Chile's a lot further away than Ukraine, but even for a small footballing nation at that time like Ukraine, they could then go and be like, oh yeah, you know what? We've got some good players in our team. I kind of see it like how we're looking at Georgia now at the moment with Kavica Kvaratskhelia. People are looking at Georgia now, especially in the under-21 championships, the Euros that just went by, of, you've got a couple of good players coming through. They're going to be world beaters one day like Kvaratskhelia. That's what Andrei Shevchenko was for Ukraine. He's a national hero now, and he was a national hero then for what he's done for the nation of Ukraine and for what he did for AC Milan in the Champions League as well. So my front two is Ronaldo Nazario and Andrei Shevchenko, which is pretty good, I think.
Your front two is lethal, like they can beat you in any way. They can beat you in the box, they can beat you outside the box. They can be waiting as poachers, or they can even be starting from deep and picking up the ball. Both such well-rounded players that it's like having those two guys saying, like, how do I stop them? How do I stop this duel? And I think at one point that's what made Milan so good, by having two phenomenal strikers like Shevchenko and Inzaghi in just the team, and being able to rely on both for goals, in different ways. Inzaghi was the one that would wait in the box or wait for the chance, like, to find goal, and Shevchenko was the one that would try and take you on and beat you with his speed or his agility or his dribbling, while also being such a lethal player that can kill you with just one little opportunity.
Absolutely. Andrei Shevchenko brought fear into defenders' eyes before he even steps on the pitch. He's one of those players that if you're looking at him in the tunnel or in the starting lineup, you're like, I'm going to have a bad day at the office. Prime Andrei Shevchenko is one of the most slept on strikers in world football, in my opinion, as well. When you're looking at what he did for AC Milan, like we just said earlier, what he could bring to the game of football as well. Unbelievable talent. And just like Lucas said, he could take you left, he could take you right, he could score from outside the box consistently, he could be a goal poacher, he could go and do nothing in the game for 89 minutes and score a goal in the 90th minute and become the hero for the game as well, which is what happened a few times with Andrei Shevchenko, especially in European competition, which goes to show how talented of a striker he really was for AC Milan and for Ukraine as well, which was great. And for Dynamo Kiev, before I forget. But yeah, I don't know who's won, Lucas. You've done amazing. I've done amazing. I don't think any of us have got any kind of controversial choice in our team because we've done such amazing performances with our draft as well. The comments will definitely decide who wins. The Instagram poll will definitely decide who wins as well. But one last time, can you just read out your team from back to front for us, please, Lucas?
Okay, so the goalie is Julio Cesar.
Yeah.
At right back, we have Zanetti. At right center back, we have Costa Curta. Left center back, we have Baresi. At left back, we have Facchetti. In our midfield three, we have Mateus on the left, Pirlo in the middle as like the six,
Mm.
and Gattuso on the right. Um, as the number 10, we have Vicky Kaká. As the right-sided striker, we have Zamorano, and as the left-sided striker, we have Ibrahimovic.
That is insane. That is a ridiculous talented team that you've got there as well. My retort to that was a team that I'm going to have to go back to front with Francesco Toldo in goal. My right to left is Cafu, Nesta, Lucio, Maldini. Then I'm going to have to go for Edgar Davids, defense midfielder. Then I've got Clarence Seedorf and Esteban Cambia. So again, as more defensive attacking midfielders with a license to roam. Wesley Schneider has the freedom of the pitch to create for our two amazing strikers of Ronaldo Nazario and Andrei Shevchenko as well, which is the team that I think has won this draft. Lucas will obviously think he's won this draft, but it's all down to everyone that's been listening who has won this draft. You have to let us know on our social media pages and on our comments in our YouTube as well, and obviously on this podcast, which would be great going forward. Lucas, before we wrap up this podcast, I want to say thank you very much for your time and your opportunity to chat to you pre-season. Again, we're going to be talking more when the season comes through, which will be great fun. What's your expectations for AC Milan so far this season? Are you expecting them to go back into the top four with a vengeance, challenge for the Scudetto? Can you reach Napoli's heights of that 18-point gap that they once had in the Serie A last season? What do you think, Lucas?
Um, Currently looking at the Serie A and all the other teams, I don't think anybody can replicate what Napoli did last season with the pure dominance and the pure strength and ease that they won the league with by 18 points. I don't think any team right now looks strong enough to be able to go and win like 95% of their matches, you know.
Mm.
But my expectations for Milan is I think second to third place, you know. I think Leao can only get better. Uh the striker we need another striker because I don't think we can rely on Giroud for another season to
Is
play every
Origi
game.
staying
So
or is he going to leave or is he left?
um so far Origi is still here, but from some reports it's being said that Origi can leave and has had offers from Turkey, Premier League, Bundesliga from all over.
Okay.
Um
Not Saudi Arabia
but
yet.
No, not Saudi Arabia yet. But who knows? Maybe tomorrow when we wake up, he's gonna be confirmed. Um, but yeah, I think third or fourth. You know, there's a lot of good things in the team still. A lot of improvements have been made, and a lot of players can still improve. I think we just need one or two more players that are starters, and maybe we can see this Milan be a title contender. You know, there's some interesting players to watch out for already, like Ruben Loftus-Cheek. You know, this is a chance for him to redeem himself. I mean, to redeem his career. If he can stay healthy after seeing what he did against Milan in those two games, he's a deadly player. He has the strength, he has the speed, he has the talent to be a success. Same as Pulisic. So there's a lot of interesting players to look out for in this Milan team, and I'd say second or third.
Yeah, it would be really good. And I personally thought, well, there's a striker available. I think his name is Openda, who's available this summer, but he ended up going to RB
Yeah.
Leipzig. So I was thinking that would have been a really good choice for a marquee signing for AC Milan as well, to kind of get a new goal scorer moving forward as well. And obviously with Giroud kind of moving up in age, I think a change of type of striker would work really well for AC Milan as well. Someone who can rely upon the goals as well. I mean, as a Man United fan, if you want to take Anthony Martial, please take him. He's always injured, but he may have a better time of recovering from injury in Milan. So if you want to take a striker, I'm sure Anthony Martial is free. Well, not free. You can take him for like £5 million if you want. So if you want to take him, you can take him. We can get someone else. I really don't mind. Someone from the academy, because Martial is always injured as well. But personally, for me, the striker I think you should have gone for was Marcus Thuram on a free transfer. I thought he would have been a deadly striker for you guys as well. I thought he would have fit the bill perfectly for you guys as well. But unfortunately, he's gone to Inter Milan, and Lukaku still looks like he's trying to force his way out from Chelsea to Inter Milan as well. So they may have a few big strikers that they've got: Thuram, Martinez, Lukaku. If they're going to go down that route, then that will be good for them. But AC Milan, I reckon, we're going to have to wait and see until the end of August if you will bring in another marquee striker. And I'm looking forward to it because, again, we're only in mid-transfer window at the time of recording as well, which will be really good fun as well. And like you said, second or third, that will be a big push. And I'll hold you to that prediction come next year, May as well. We'll see what happens with that one, Lucas, which would be really good. But yeah, Lucas, before we wrap up the podcast, once again, thank you for taking the time and for playing our AC Milan versus Inter Milan draft. Do let our audience know where they can find you and what they can expect from you and your platform this season as well. So fire away, my friend.
Thank you for having me on. It's always good to come here, talk about Serie A and chat, especially with a great host like you. So always an honor to be here.
I'm blushing.
Um, you can find me on Instagram, Threads, Twitter. Um, Threads is probably like gonna be the platform that I talk the most out of, as it takes not much time to prepare something. You can just say whatever comes to you and be done with it in a snap. So it's easier to find more opinions and stuff like that on Threads from me. Instagram too, I want to get back to. And yeah, so look out for the Instagram and the Threads. Twitter, you'll see me from time to time, but it'll mainly be to talk about the podcast. But yeah, Instagram and Threads, and look for calcio, _talk.
Excellent. I'm hoping we'll get you a few times over the next season as well, Lucas. So it's great to have you on in pre-season. I'm looking forward to speaking to you later on this season as well, which will be great. Everyone do follow Lucas on his Calcio Talk threads, on his Twitter, on his podcast, and on his Instagram account as well. Great to have you on again, Lucas, my friend. Everyone, thank you very much for listening, especially you listening to us through summer as well. We do appreciate you still taking the time to listen to us when it's even pre-season as well. We are bringing different content this summer as well, so we are enjoying doing different things and having a lot more fun doing it as well with different guests, which is great fun. Everyone do follow us on social media if you haven't already. If you're a new time listener, do follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts from as well. Do have a lovely day, have a lovely evening whenever you're listening to this. Take care and goodbye.